Hello and welcome to the oddschecker Cheltenham Festival preview. This is your day 3 preview, the Thursday of the Cheltenham Festival, and it's sponsored by Betano. I'm your host, George Ellick, delighted to be joined by oddschecker racing tipster Andy Holding and Betano ambassador Kate Tracy. We've done days 1 and 2 already. Not going to bother asking you both how you are because I know.
Hasn't changed in the meantime.
No, we've spoken a lot in the last couple of hours.
Flagging.
Yeah, getting tired. So let's get straight into the action. Should say before we do so that Betano have a couple of really great offers for new customers, including bet 5, get £20 in free bets. New customers only. This is, you have to opt in, 18 plus of course. But if you bet £5 on horse racing of odds of 2 to 1 or bigger, within 3 days of signing up, having opted in, you'll get 4 £5 free bets for certain markets, which will expire within 10 days. T's and C's will apply, so check those, begambleaware.org, and ensure you are gambling responsibly. Not only are Betano doing a couple of new customer offers, but they're also boosting our panel's festival naps. Andy's festival nap has been boosted out to 20 to 1. Kate, your festival nap has been boosted out to 14 to 1. We've already spoken about Copec de Board in the Michael O'Sullivan Supreme. We've already spoken about John Bon in the Queen Mother Champion Chase. It is now time to talk about 6.5, who is the 9-4 favourite for the Mares Novice, the opening race now on the Thursday. Marine is 3 to 1, Caroline Bamboo 7 to 1, Jubilee Alpha, and Galileo Dame and Diva Luna all 8 to 1, Aurora Vega 12 to 1, Just to Rose 12 to 1, 16 to 1 bar those. What is it about 6.5 that has you happy to put her in your best bet of the week?
Yeah, Betano boost, Betano mugs as well.
Yes,
And yes,
yes,
we've got
exactly.
everything, haven't we,
Cheers.
going on
Yeah.
for this one? So yes, I am happy to put forward 6.5 for this. And I was really happy with where I was sat as well, with Maureen just being the ante-post favourite for the longest time, and really wanted to take her on because I just thought Maureen is really going to have to be something very special to be winning this. And she may well be that. Of course, she's got all of the right connections to be able to do so, but she's a 6-year-old now. Very lightly raced, clearly, in her career as well. On the back of just 1 bumper win, 1 hurdle win. So 2 career starts for a 6-year-old mare. And as I say, just 1 over hurdles. So she may well be good enough to maintain this unbeaten record. But I'd rather side of experience at this stage of their career. And that comes courtesy and then some quite nicely of 6.5 in here, who, again, you can say, yes, she herself only has the 1 start over hurdles. But again, that was a winning one. 2 bumper runs as well, 6 flat starts. So she's won 4 of her 9 career starts. And I just thought it was interesting that Gavin Cromwell, who is having a fantastic season, I know a lot of people are saying, well, is he potentially vying for sort of the second second stable status then in Ireland at present and really making a bid for that? On the back of this season, you wouldn't be querying that argument all that much. And he put forward 6.5 couple of weeks ago as his best chance of the week. So I thought that was very notable. So if it's good enough for Gavin Cromwell, then it's good enough for me. And yeah, 6.5, I thought that she had a proper chance to put experience to the fore in the Mares Novices.
If it's good enough for Kate, it's good enough for Gavin, is it good enough for Andy?
Yeah, I couldn't knock her performance when she won first time out. The feature of that round was her jumping. She was very good at the last 2 when the taps were being turned on. Spring-heeled at the last.
Yeah.
No going into it deep, clattering it or taking her eye off the ball. Very professional. Love the way she got from A to B. So much so that Gavin Cromwell hasn't needed to run her again. I think that's a real indication, isn't it? Normally you think, oh, inexperience. Normally you have to have 2-3 runs traditionally to win this. He's thinking, no, she's good. That's all I need to see, as it were. And she clocked a good time as well. Not out the park time, but a very good one. Certainly better than Maureen's time, for instance, who was quite impressive on debut. So I prefer her out to the front end of the market. I actually don't mind, or I'm going to give a little bit of a mention and another chance to Diva Luna. I think the Ben Pauling team are quite sweet on her chances. In recent, listening to what I've been listening to in recent days, her form so far isn't top class over hurdles. She got beat first time out, bit of a shock, but then she was good the next day. And apparently she bled at Sandown. I think she got beat by a decent horse, Castle Carrick, who ran really well in the Grey Turk Kelso the other day. So it's not bad form as it was. She did look laboured to the eye. I thought, that's not Diva Luna. And subsequently they found out what the problem was. She's been really good subsequently, been freshened up. It's been good money for her in the last sort of 48 hours. backing up the view that she has worked well in a decent gallop recently. And you know, she's beaten Jubilee Alpha fair and square in the champion bumper at Aintree last season on good ground. I think that's the key to her as well, nice ground. So lots of positive vibes, as well as form attached to Diva Luna's chances.
Yeah, Diva Luna 8-1 currently, in from 12-1 a couple of days ago, with Betano, Andy's selection against Kate's favourite there.
I wouldn't say it's against.
Okay.
It's an alternative.
Fine.
And
There
also
we go.
Dustin, I'm now going off favourite.
I am keen on 6.5 as well.
Right.
I think it's a really good, really good.
An each way
Appreciate
angle.
Fine. That's what I'm trying to vary it up a bit.
Yeah, good.
I prefer us disagreeing, to be honest.
On now to the Jack Richards Novice Handicap Chase. I'm still kind of none the wiser as to who Jack Richards is or who they are. But anyway, Jaguar is the 4-1 favourite ahead of Asian Master at 6-1. Nürburgring is 6-1 as well. Answer to K from Firefox, both 8-1. Tully Hill, Springwell Bay, Blizzard of Oz, all 10-1, 12-1 bar those. You're a bit of a Nürburgring fan this time last year, Andy.
Yeah.
Keeping the faith?
Well, he needs to jump a bit better than he did last time out. It was disgusting, wasn't he? He'd almost attacked the hurdles or the fences down the back like he got a blindfold on. But he has been very strong in the market. This has obviously been the plan for a while. He was really good when he won the Galway Hurdle. He's a very talented horse on his day, but his jumping is definitely a problem in a big field round here. Whether I would want to take 7-1 about him is open to question. This is a real throwback to how this race was many years ago. I remember that good horse of Henry de Bromhead's winning it in the Cheveley Park colours.
not
Ballyadam.
No, went on to win.
Yeah, he won the Gold Cup.
The Gold Cup.
Oh
my God.
No, it wasn't. It was Alla, not Allaho, no.
No. What's his name?
Oh, we're desperate. But anyway,
Oh, my goodness.
that won this handicap off a ridiculous mark. So there's lots of plots and lots of Irish trainers trying to get their horse into this race and off a reasonable mark. The two that I quite like and I've been warming to is they ran in a race that was won by Lecky Watson early on the season when he beat Slade Steele. Blizzard of Oz finished third and Ante de Cave finished fifth. I didn't think Ante de Cave was overly...
Aplutard.
Oh, goodness me,
That's the one, Aplutard.
Why was that name not
Yeah,
coming
I
to me?
know,
I could
yeah.
literally see
Sometimes
him top of the hill in
happens.
this race.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah.
Oh, well done.
I can rest
Yeah,
easy tonight. Yeah. Ante de Cave was fifth in that race, with that being looking as though it was overly busy. Ante de Cave subsequently gone on to win at Naas in very impressive fashion. And as a result of him winning easily, he's gone up now, so he'll definitely get in. And he was fourth, don't forget, in last year's Martin Pipe, so he's got Cheltenham Festival experience. Blizzard of Oz hasn't run at Cheltenham so far, but he's subsequently, from that run at Navan, had two very interesting runs at Gowran. Last time I'd be on Quai de Bourbon. When again, he looked like winning, turning for home, and then didn't get any assistance from the Pro Cush. He was just hands and heels. So I think this has very much been the plan for him. So, cut long story short, the two out of that Lecky Watson race, which I think is pretty good early on in the season, one of the best beginners chases run so far in Ireland. We've had Ante de Cave, Blizzard of Oz. They both now had 3 runs over fences to get qualified. They ran in that race, and those are my two against the field.
Yeah, Answer to Cave 8-1, Blizzard of Oz 10-1. Kate, how do you see it?
Yeah, I like Jordan's in here. Also, we were talking about previously then as well. And it's just going to be fascinating with Joseph O'Brien. It's hilarious, isn't it? The fact that since he has said that he is predominantly focusing on his flat performers, his flat horses, that all of a sudden his very select boutique string of jumpers have just been picking up every single prize going pretty much then. So yeah, I thought that Jordan's was a really interesting recruit for them in general from France, where he had showed some classy form there previously. Now he is going to have to run here off a mark of 148, so he's up £3 from his Irish mark as well. But when you actually go into the form that he's been showing, last time out when he was second at Limerick behind Impere Pass, wasn't disgracing that whatsoever after being held up from off of the pace. Prior to that, unseated. But his win 3 starts ago was in a Grade 3 Novice Chase at Punchestown, where he beat Monbeg Park by half a length in that. And of course, Monbeg Park, fantastic to see him winning a listed handicap chase there at Leopardstown just the other day. So He's got the form boost needed. He's got the perfect form behind the Grade 1 caliber horses you'd want to see as well. And yeah, he just looks to have that class. So I don't think a mark of 148 is going to overestimate him by any means. And yeah, the current prices, I thought that Jordan's was very interesting for the boutique jumping operation.
Yeah, Jordan's 12-1 with Betano there, Kate selection for the Jack Richards Novice Handicap Chase. On to the Pertemps now, where the Woolpark is the 5-1 joint favourite with Jericho de Repenay. Will the Wise 6-1, been punted recently in from a double figure price. Win some, lose some, 8-1. Gwenny, my boy, 10-1, 12-1. One Big Bang, Feet of a Dancer, Dart, and Lucky Lyrene, Henry II, plenty others at 14-1. Yeah, I keep coming to you with probably the hardest races in the whole festival to pick the winner. But Kate, who's your fancy for the Pertemps?
At least in these races, I've got some originality anyway for horses that are at decent prices.
Yeah.
Even though I've just clicked in and it looks as though Carl de Tourelles might have actually shortened up a little bit. Still a decent price, all the same about him. But yeah, for Philip Fenton,
16-1.
16s, has he been clipped down to 16s? Oh, goodness me. Okay, I mean,
it's the weight of your money.
Probably. Yeah, it's obviously I'm slightly buoyed by that, for all that it doesn't feel as original a selection now if he's already been clipped into 16s here. But again, this is the selection where the trends led me to Carl de Tourelles in here, because the Pertemps suggests siding with an 8-year-old, ideally rated 138 to 146. Midfield or hold-up performers doing best. 3 runs in the season is optimal. First, or reach the frame, marginally just outside the frame in a Pertemps qualifier, a Grade B handicap hurdle last time out. That run coming 3 weeks ago, also a plus point. Now, Carl, he's not the right age. He's a 5-year-old, but he is rated 139, so ideal. 3rd last time out in a Limerick 2-mile 4 hurdle after he qualified at Punchestown in November. Finished 2nd. He ran a cracker that day. That was the day that he first flagged up to me. So I was pleased when I was brought back around on the trends front to him. So he's running from £6 higher at Cheltenham, but he's been freshened up for this, 76 days. When you look at Philip Fenton, when he's got a horse qualified earlier on in the season, wasn't disgraced at all last time out then, and has had the freshen up, then I just wanted to keep the eye on Carl de Tourelles, and clearly the fact that he's been clipped in there a bit as well is going to enhance my optimism.
Carl de Tourelles there, 16-1. Won at 100-1 on debut back in 2024, which is always fun. Andy?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether the Woolpark does come here. He's favourites at the moment and carry top weight like Sir de Burley did a few years ago. He qualified by winning at Cheltenham early on in the season, and then they had a pop at the graded race last time out at Ascot. I was going to say Royal Ascot, in the long walk. I thought it was a massive eye catcher that day. I don't think he's a million in the Stayers Hurdle, which we'll get onto in a second. So there's still a matter of conjecture which route he'll go. It kind of changes the dynamics of this race if he comes out to a degree. I'm not a massive fan of Jericho de Repenay. Just think he's one of those horses that always seems to have an excuse or two. Yeah. Whether he's quite man enough for a race like this, I'd be a little bit doubtful of. The two that I've fallen down on the side of and backed in recent days is Feet of a Dancer. I backed Mrs. Milner to win this race several years ago for the Paul Nolan's team, and she qualified by finishing 3rd in the Pertemps qualifier at Christmas, and lo and behold, so did Feet of a Dancer. They almost ran carbon copy races. They both travelled really nice. They got to the front and then they got ran out of it on soft ground. She travelled like the best filly in the race, so the better ground I think will suit her. And the other one I quite like is Dart, Tommy Cooper's horse. He got beat in a driving finish at Carlisle to get qualified. He looked like winning that day, travelled great. But another one of those Sean Bowen, Ollie Murphy horses jumped out of the ground and did him late on, Shallow River. And prior to that, he'd run really well at Navan when he came from a mile back in a competitive 2-mile 6 race. It was a Herculean effort on that occasion. I like his campaign. I like the fact that he's got qualified. He goes well in big field handicaps, better ground will suit, and he's also got Cheltenham festive experience because he ran in the bumper a few years ago. So those are my two against the field. For what it's worth, Feed of a Dancer and Dart.
So Dart I said was 12-1. Feet of a Dancer we've got at 12-1 as well. So a couple of horses there at 12-1 for Andy in the Pertemps. On to the Ryanair now, where Factor File is the 6-4 favourite ahead of Ile Francais at 3-1. Gaelic Warriors 7-2. Protector at 5-1. Spillans Tower is 5-1 alongside Banbridge at the same price. Energumene 8-1. Jello 10-1. Jungle Boogie 12-1. Founder 50 16-1. Heartwood 16-1, and a couple more at that price too. But Andy, we've only had one of your nap trebles so far, but this is the second leg. Ballyburn in the Brown Advisory, East India Dock will get to in the Triumph, and Factor File in the Ryanair, boosted by Betano to 20-1. Factor File's, had a couple of bruising encounters as of late, but you think you can shake that off here in the Ryanair?
Yeah, my reason for going with him really is twofold. I don't think going for the Gold Cup is a particularly good idea. JP might think, well, he deserves to go in the Gold Cup because he's a good horse, and obviously last year's Brown Advisory winner, he's got a touch of quality, and would they view as finishing second behind Galopin de Chambre a greater result than winning the Ryanair? You could argue that is, a more prestigious thing to do. But at the same time, JP's a realist, and you probably think, well, can we really beat Galopin de Chambre? Whereas, we're going to be 6-4 favourite to win this if we were in this, rather than 5-1 to win the Gold Cup. So, you do the math kind of thing. I think he's got the best 2.5 mile form this season when he beat Galopin de Chambre in the John Durkan. And that's kind of then what I'm hanging my hat on, really. I think he gets 3 miles just about, but he's not going to beat Galopin de Chambre, is he? So, as far as I could see, he's the one with the most quality in this race. And the race run at a strong gallop playing to his strength. A strong 1 2.5 will be right up his street. You've got Elefante, who now comes into it, which I don't fancy at all. He's a bit of a bleeder and he wants flat tracks. He wants to go right-handed. So I think he's a poor price. I think Protectorat's solid if you're looking for something, if Factor File doesn't run. If I'm speaking here now doing this podcast and you think, well, Andy's tipped Factor File, he goes to the Gold Cup. If you hear that news over the weekend or something, then I'll be looking at something like Protectorat, who was really good. We beat Jello the other day. He made Jello look pretty pedestrian, didn't he, at Windsor? And he was right on the money that day as well. Looks like Dan's got him in a great place. So yeah, that's pretty much it, really. Factor File will probably win if he comes here, and if he doesn't, then might have to stick with last year's winner as an alternative.
Just looking at the exchange now, Factor File, there's kind of more money queuing to back Factor File, albeit at bigger prices for the Gold Cup than the Ryanair.
It could easily happen. I mean, JP, he's got Spillans Tower in this potentially, and he's only got Corbett's Cross. Maybe in the Gold Cup, he thinks, well, I'd rather have a run in the Gold Cup. Let's have another crack. And he might think, I'm more than happy finishing second to Galopin de Chambre, and that, and get a bigger kick out of that than winning a Ryanair. Who knows which way he's thinking.
Kate, how do you see the Ryanair this year?
Oh, I'm actually taking him on Factor File. Nice. It's mainly because it's one of the few opportunities I've got to take on a favourite in it's not one of the traditional 4 championship races, but one of the championship modern races then in the Ryanair. Not because I don't think he's the class act of the field. I really do think he is. I absolutely adore this horse. He's so straightforward. He's, and as Andy says there, I think that 3 miles is the upper of his stamina distance. I don't think he should go for the Gold Cup either, with the extra 2 furlongs on top of that against Galopin. I think that the Ryanair is the right place for him, but as I say, horses at prices, I thought that he was one of the opportunities I had to take on one of those at the head of the market, and it is with Andy's super sub, should Factor File not go here, Protectorat, to do what he did last year, basically. And I know that he was being underestimated in the ante-post market. I think just because he's a 10-year-old, and we get repeat winners of the Ryanair, we get horses that go out in front and blast off, then he's potentially going to have some vulnerabilities on the front end with Le Francais in here, should he go forwards as well. But if the pair of those two take each other on, you'd expect Le Francais, given his previous issues, to crack before Protectorat does. And he's a funny horse. Harry Skelton said it himself, that he's just like no others. He's kind of, again, not really wired right, and he just keeps delivering, keeps going. And even at the age of 10, if he gets into the rhythm that he did last year, he's really going to put a lot of these to the sword. Plenty of pace, plenty of stamina as well. So it's a big ask for him at his age. But you look back at the RPRs he's posting, and it was an RPR 172 that he posted in the Fleur de Lis Chase at Windsor last time out. So who's to say he's not as good as ever currently? And as I said there, the fact that he made Jello, I mean, he absolutely lost them out of sight. And I know that Protectorate is better left-handed, Jello's better right-handed, hence why he was able to get the verdict over him previously. But even so, though, that was just a real showing of him at his best. So, yeah, at the prices, Protectorate.
Protectorate 5-1, their Kate selection. And you are taking on Factor File. It's not an alternative. You're taking on the favourite.
Yeah.
Taking on Andy.
It's hearing it out loud makes it sound horrible, but yes.
On to the stayers now, where Teahupoo is the 10-11 favourite ahead of Home by the Lead 11-2. Lucky Place 7-1. The Wool Park entered here, as well as the Pertemps 10-1. Rocky's Diamond 12-1, 14-1 Bar. And where do you stand with Teahupoo and the ground concerns? Is that enough to put you off and look to take him on?
I think it adds into the factor, doesn't it, if you're looking to take him on. He would prefer ground than he got last year. I thought he won a very substandard stayers, it contained the likes of Paisley Park and Dasher Drasher et al. I think this has got a little bit more depth in it this year, only marginally. I think you can split hairs on that front. Home by the Lee, I think, is a better horse this year than he looked last year. Just seems to have come alive. You've got Lucky Place, you've got the Wool Park, you've got Rocky's Diamond. You've got a few others. Bob Hollinger's got a good record at Cheltenham and Langadan as well in there. So I think there's more of a team or a gaggle of horses that could potentially upset the apple cart for the favourite here, who I don't think has really captured the public's imagination as of yet, as a proper top-class stayer. If he goes and wins this again this year, then that might change. But he hasn't done any massive figures. Like, for instance, the Pertemps Final last year won by Montmoral was much quicker. If you just compare like for like and do the split times like I do and put them both on the screen and let them go for the last circuit, Montmoral was quicker than Teahupoo from winning line to winning line, or from the hurdle in front of the stands to the line. So I'm not sure I could say we were dealing with a vintage crop. If the Wool Park was to run here, he would be my bet, plain and simply. I was massively impressed with him when he won at Cheltenham early on the season. So was JP. He obviously got his checkbook out and wanted him on his squad. Saw nothing wrong with that run in the long walk. Thought he was the best horse in the race. The better ground will suit him. It was good ground when he won at Cheltenham early on the year. So big fan of the Wool Park. I'm hoping they come here and don't run him in the Pertemps, because they've got others in that. JP I think's got 2 or 3 in that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, he would be my pick. And Montmoral as well. I mentioned him just there in passing. He's going to be a massive price on the day, but I think he might come here, and based on the numbers he did in last year's final, he could easily run on into a place if you get 4 and 5 places on the day.
Montmoral 33-1, and the Wool Park 10-1 in the stayers. A couple to take on the favourite. Judging that Teahupoo doesn't feature in your nap treble either, I'm assuming you're not wading in at the odds on.
No, I am. I did sort of half hint about these championship races where I'm being so unoriginal. But yeah, Teahupoo for me. He's a horse where I've always tried to take him on, literally up until this year's festival, because Home by the Lee, he's such a funny character of a horse, isn't he? And I've been with him previously plenty of times, and as Andy says there, he has just come alive this season. But I wonder if it is the certain tracks he's been running at, having that half a walleye that he's got on the stable yard, because he is a real thinker about the game. We used to associate him with being completely behind the bridle, taking forever to soak up, then passing them, coming alive potentially at partway through the race, come off the bridle again, and then just outstaying them all. I do wonder, I think Joseph O'Brien actually said this himself, that it has been the positioning of stable yards at tracks that he's won at, that he's had that within his eye line. And I'll have to take his word for it, because there are not many Irish tracks I've been to be able to see. Now, Cheltenham should therefore work in his favour, because the stable yard's right at the top of the hill. However, the chute, as we know, Alan Whitebite, is right to the right hand there before the real incline then for the remainder of the hill. And I just wonder again with Home by the Lee if that's going to catch him out. So I'm not going to get stung by him again this year. I think he's got all the ability to be going close and winning this, but just hasn't shown it at Cheltenham. But this year he is a different proposition, so I'll let him go and win at that price should he want to. But yeah, Teahupoo, I know he's just had the same prep again. Of course, he was beaten this year around in the Hatton's Grace, so by Lossiemouth after going for the hat trick for it. But I don't think that's a stone to throw at him. It was a steadily run affair. He just lacked the gears of a much faster horse to be going and bringing up the hat-trick in the Hatton's Grace. So I'm not perturbed by that whatsoever. He's had the same freshen up again. And I just didn't think he had that much to beat here. So the ground is a concern. I hope more people are going to be concerned by that. And you might be ever so slightly on the drift then. So that would work beautifully in my favour. But yeah, he's still only an 8-year-old and he could well be about to rack up a sequence of these Sayers Hurdle wins.
Teahupoo, 10 to 11, favourite, and rightly so, as per Kate. On to the last 2 races on the card. On Thursday, starting with the plate, the Trusted Trader plate. Jaguars, the 6 to 1 favourite ahead of Creberley at 7 to 1. The Company Sergeant 8 to 1, Springwell Bay 8 to 1, Firefox 8 to 1, 10 to 1, the Short Go 12 to 1, bar those. Kate, we'll come back to you for the plate. Who'd you like here?
Just trying to see what price he currently is, because this one I'm pretty sure I'm still going to get a big price about. Third time lucky in here. The 10-year-old.
20 to 1.
20 to 1. Okay, yeah, that's still feasible for third time lucky in here. And again, the trends front. And favouring older horses as well, notably 10-year-olds, the last 2 winners being of that age. Rating of 143, also being the winning rating of those past 2 winners. Prominent races also suited, or a horse that can make all. 3 or 4 runs ideally. First last time out, ideally course and distance handicap or grade 1 or 2 novice, and 7 weeks since then. Now, of the 10-year-olds that caught my eye, third time lucky was the one who isn't rated high enough in comparison to those previous winners on 134 that he's going to be running off. But he has had the 3 starts this season, all since joining Fergal O'Brien. Hasn't exactly reached the heights of his former glories, but of course he did have that lengthy absence. He's come down the weights a lot as a result, near a career low mark. The only time he was low was when he was a bumper horse and novice hurdler, so fair enough. With a high rating of 153, not that many runs ago. He was 4th in the Grand Annual in 2023 off of 149. So if Fergal can just find any sort of key to him to get him to show his former abilities, we know he likes Cheltenham. He has festival experience and running off a very winnable mark for a horse that is seemingly of the right age for the race. So yeah, third time lucky for me.
Yeah, really interesting. Third time lucky for Fergal O'Brien, 20 to 1 there for Kate in the plate. Andy?
Yeah, I'm mildly interested in Dan Skelton's horse there, the mare, Panic Attack. I was interested when Dan runs them over hurdles on their penultimate start before going to the festival, which is what he did last time out. She only just succumbed to Irish Hill, Windsor. No, it wasn't Windsor, was it? It was the time she won Warwick. Sorry, beg your pardon. She looked like winning that day. It was Windsor the time before when she won that listed mares, beating May and Mia. 1 or 2 other nice horses been in good form. I thought she was brilliant that day. Travelled great. Pinged the last 2 or 3 in the home straight. Won with any mount in hand. She's got previous Cheltenham form. She was 4th to Stage Star in a hot race at Cheltenham prior to when Stage Star went on to win at the festival itself. And she looks as though, dare I say, she's been targeted for this. So yeah, Panic Attack. Panic
Attack, 12 to 1 there with Betano about the plate. And finally the Kim Muir, where Johnny Who is the 5 to 1 favourite ahead of Samagest. And now is the hour at 7 to 1. Midnight Hour Fred 8 to 1. Walking on Air 10 to 1 with Katat Dory. Hashting 12 to 1. Mint Boy 12 to 1 Transmission. 12 to 1 Will Do. 12 to 1 Nine Graces. 14 to 1 bar those. Andy, who do you like for it in the Kim Muir?
Well, I think we've all got to respect anything that JP runs here after what happened last year with I Know the Way You're Thinking. What did he go? Off 6 to 4 or something ridiculous or whatever it was. Probably the gamble of the season. And made a mockery of his handicap mark. I'm not saying Johnny Hughes the second coming in that sort of category, but he has been very interestingly campaigned, let's say. He's been given a few quiet-looking rides in sort of small field conditions races and stuff like that, and I don't think they've really been that bothered with him, as it were. And now he's been taken out of the Ultimo, and I think another race. This looks like the target, so he looks like being JP's number 1 elect. However, that said, I'm quite keen on an Irish horse trained by Johnny Levins Johnny Flavin called Midnight Hour Fred, who has already had a couple of spins around Cheltenham on good ground, largely in the sort of autumn time, to get a feel for the track. And I think this has been the target for some way out. He didn't get a Grand National entry, so I thought, well, he's got to come here to Cheltenham. was a great run in the Paddy Power. He jumped, travelled great for 3 miles. He just got run out of it by Percival Galwa, who's gone on to win subsequently. Nick Rocket was third, who went on to win the Thyestes, and then the Bobby Joe. I think he's one of the best handicapped horses in the field, and his connection would be praying for no rain, because he wants genuine good ground and good to soft ground. So that all the ducks will be coming in a row for Midnight Our Fred. I don't know who rides him, but I presume whoever gets the ride has been probably sought after for a while. I think he'll get a good crack Irish pilot on, because who wouldn't want to ride him around Cheltenham? He looks a fairly safe conveyance. So yeah, Midnight Our Fred. Really
interesting there. Midnight Our Fred, the selection for Andy, sounds like a fairly strong one there to my ear in the Kim Muir. Kate, who do you fancy here?
Ditto. Yeah? Midnight Our Fred.
On.
I'm hoping it's going to be Darren McGill who rides him. Okay. That's what I'm hoping for. He rode him.
You'd have the inside track.
Well, so she thinks she does. But he rode him when he finished second back in October 2023. Yeah. Got a really good tune out of him in an amateur handicap chase around Cheltenham then. Yeah. So I'm hoping he's going to get the ride. Danny Mullins has been riding him plenty of late, hasn't he, when he was coming over to Cheltenham previously. So hoping, because he got such a good tune out of him, he'll be the one. But yeah, I don't have much to follow up, really. The fact he's got the Cheltenham form, he faced all of those runs at Cheltenham previously. And when he was beaten last time out, beaten 7 lengths behind Percival Galwa, I know he was beaten enough of a way, but that form, as you would hope and expect from that race, has continued to work out well. Been loads of winners out of it. It was just the way that he jumped throughout it. I read some sort of jumping data about him from that race.
Jumping IQ,
yeah, that was it. Yeah, and he gained a ridiculous amount of lengths out of it.
He was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, so that around Cheltenham, to be saving every inch of ground over the fences, that was the main reason. He just caught the eye hugely. So yes, it's going to be Midnight Our Fred for me as well.
What a way to finish. A joint selection at 8-1 in the Kim Muir.
Who would have thought it?
No one. Yeah, exactly.
It was almost up there with Jakob Ingebrigtsen, wasn't it?
That was... For those who haven't watched that episode, they're going to be very confused now.
That's why he's getting 2 shout-outs.
That's why you should watch episodes 1 and 2, which we recorded earlier. We're going through every single race of the Cheltenham Festival, and we'll be doing the Day 4 Gold Cup day after this, so check that out. As I mentioned earlier, a couple of offers from Betano. You got that earlier when I mentioned the Bet 5 Get 20 and free bets offer for new customers only. T's and C's to apply, but also get 30-1 about Galopin de Champs to win the Gold Cup. Again, new customers only, £1 max bet, T's and C's to apply. So check those out, begambleaware.org, and please gamble responsibly. But 2 really good offers, and we've got Fact of Half from Andy. We've got 6.5 for Kate in the Festival Naps treble, which you can find boosted on site now. 20-1 about Andy's, 14-1 about Kate's. Sign up for an account, back those. There's no doubt there's value within doing so. So check out those offers there from Betano and sign up for an account. Oddschecker have you covered across the festival for the best prices. Andy will be posting his tips before every evening's racing as well. So between Betano and Oddschecker, hopefully for the festival, all your betting needs are covered. If you are going to be betting on the festival, we ask you to do so responsibly. Make sure you stay tuned for episode 4 of Day 4 of our Cheltenham previews. But in the meantime, please ensure that you're gambling responsibly.